Hi, and welcome to Weight Loss Wednesday. I'm Chef AJ, the creator of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, and this is where I show you recipes from my book, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss, that will help you achieve healthy, permanent, and sustainable weight loss. Today we're doing one of my favorite recipes from page 128 called Lip Smackin' Mouth-Watering Kale. Kale, yeah, and it'll make a kale lover out of you yet. Start with my pan. I've already started to heat it up. The way that you know that it's hot enough is if a little bead of water, can you get a little bit closer please, just kind of rolls around like that. Now it's ready for oil-free sautéing. I'm going to add my bag of onions. I do not like cutting up onions. It makes me cry. So I use the pre-cut. You can get them at Smart and Final. Pretty much every grocery store has cut onions, red and white now, ready. And if it ever starts to dry up a little bit, today I'm actually using vegetable broth, which I showed you how to make in a previous recipe. There's a recipe in my book made from scraps. And while that's getting hot, I am going to chop my garlic in this wonderful little Tupperware tool from Aunt Cassie, aka Kurt Kohler. If you need one, just write him. Productions@yahoo.com. This is a real lifesaver. I love this tool for everything, for little carrots, so look how nice and fine. Not going to add the garlic right away because it burns. If the pan starts to get a little bit sweet, we just add a little bit at a time. And again, honestly, water is fine. You don't really have to use broth, but if you have it, or broth is really just pot liquor. We actually cooked my husband's greens this morning, and he puts in a little bit more water than I do, so I had a little pot liquor left after I enjoyed my morning beverage. You know, you really don't need oil to caramelize. I have another video on YouTube called How to Caramelize an Onion Without Oil. The other ingredients that go in here are mushrooms. I'm using the sliced crimini. I love living next door to Trader Joe's because everything is washed and cut up. And a 10-ounce bag of organic Tuscan Kale. Now, if you don't like greens, then start with the mildest greens, like beet greens. Those are really delicious, really sweet, really mild. They often throw them away actually at the store. Like when you buy beets, they'll say, can I throw the tops away? No, those are the best part. Baby kale, much more mild than grown-up kale. So variety matters in kale, how it tastes, how bitter it tastes. Usually when people don't like it, it's because it's bitter. But you do get used to that bitter taste and actually learn to crave it when you find out that it's those bitter greens that not only repair your endothelial if you have heart disease, which is why Dr. Esselstyn says for his heart patients to eat them 6 times a day, but if you're suffering from food cravings, sugar cravings, food addiction, those thylakoids in those dark green leafies, those just turn off the hunger switch. So just going to add a little bit here and there. And I could go as long as I want and caramelize this as much as I want, to tell you the truth. But I am going to add my mushrooms now. Mushrooms give up a lot of water when they cook. The kale is what I'm going to add last. I want this to cook even faster. I just have to find my lid and put that lid on it. I don't know where anything is anymore. Go. Give it a stir. You can use any kind of mushroom you like. Onion and mushroom just sauteed together are incredible. Add a little bit more liquid. There we go. And believe it or not, this makes a delicious breakfast or side dish anytime. So we'll just cover that. I'll just get my garlic ready. You don't want to add garlic too soon. Garlic does burn. Add it afterwards. You know, it's a little bit more expensive when you buy things already washed and chopped up, but you have to weigh your time against money, and for some people it's just going to make it so much more accessible to be able to do that. Now, one thing I'm going to add today that I don't usually add, but just because I feel like I'm in a spicy mood, I'm going to add a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes, really good in here. And I'm just going to finish it with just a hint of balsamic vinegar. Use always the best you can afford. And this is the Napa Valley Natural. It's reduced, so it's 4% acidity. And this you can get in regular grocery stores. You don't have to buy it online, but you can. So covering it just makes it cook a little bit faster, or so I'm told. I'm not really sure because you know what they say, a watch pot never boils. But you know, you really can learn to love greens. I didn't eat for them until I was probably 43 years old. I spent most of my life drinking Coke Slurpees and Dr. Pepper, and that's how I got to be almost 200 pounds. And now greens are one of my favorite things in the whole world. You know, it takes about 15 times of a new food for it to become a preferred food. Just like when you have a baby, if you feed them a new food and they turn their head, you don't just say, oh, well, I give up. You keep offering it. And sometimes you have to start, you know, maybe with some green smoothies just to get used to that bitter taste. But you really can learn to really, really, really enjoy it. And if you don't, you know what you could do is you could put some pineapple in your greens, and then it tastes delicious. So I'm going to add my garlic now. I never follow my own recipes when it comes to garlic. I always use more because it's such a wonderful spice, especially when you're doing salt-free cooking, and it makes everything smell better. For people that can't have onion and garlic, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you with my way of cooking, which is actually not just SOS free, but SOFAS free: sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt. It's the aromatics and the onions and the leeks and the scallions and the chives and the garlics that really make it flavorful. You know, salt is really just a lazy way to cook, in my opinion. So we'll let those mushrooms get a little bit more tender. And these are pretty good bite-sized pieces. And I keep the stems in. I mean, they'll get tender. This will be the last thing we'll put in. And I still have a lot of broth left for other recipes. I'm going to add my kale now. Now, for me, this is going to be, believe it or not, one serving. Now, this will cook down. The greens will cook down really, really quickly. And it's always nice to finish your greens with a little bit of citrus, like lemon juice or lime juice. That not only helps you absorb the vitamin C, the vitamin C not only helps you absorb the iron in the greens, but it just just wakes it up a little bit. So this will take no time to cook down. This is probably even faster than if you were to cook it in your Instant Pot. There's so many beautiful varieties of kale, especially if you go to farmers markets. There's lacinato and Tuscan, and there's baby kale, and there's purple kale, and emerald kale, and Russian kale. There's a lot of different kinds of kale. But flavoring it with the onion and the mushroom is just such a great way to go. And you can cook this, I don't want to say as long as you want, but you know, as tender as you like. I like to keep it more on the al dente side. You can see it's already starting to cook it down. You want it bright green, and then you mix all the other things in it. Oh, it's looking good, and it's smelling even better. And it didn't really take that long. Oh. You'll find this recipe on page 128. And most of the time I do it like this, but I just am in a spicy mood these days. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of crushed red pepper on it. That'll wake it up even more. Delicious. And that's it. I'm going to turn the heat off. It'll still continue to cook for a little bit. Put some on my plate. This would be great with a grain, like some rice or some wild rice or quinoa. It would also be delicious over a baked potato or a baked sweet potato. You can see the greens really did cook down to almost nothing. Like to finish it with just a little bit of balsamic. I love this. It's so thick it doesn't even come out quickly. Oh, look at that. Now you tell me that doesn't look delicious. Thanks so much for watching another episode of Weight Loss Wednesday. I really believe you can have the health and the body you deserve, and it starts with delicious recipes like this. Remember, I'm Chef AJ, and I make healthy taste delicious. Bye.